Managing Director here at 72 and Sunny. Welcome to the Sunnyside series. We're coming to you live from Stagwell Sport Beach at Cannes, where we're celebrating the intersection of sport, culture, and fandom. I'm happy to be joined here by my friend Jen Berger from Zillow. Should we get into it, Jen?
Yes, we should.
All right.
Emily, Michael.
So Jen, tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you back to Cannes this year.
So, Jen Berger, I have the pleasure of working for Zillow Group and leading the creative and media teams. And, coming to Cannes this year is my second time in Cannes. So I'm a newbie by all intents and purposes here, but there's just so much incredible things kind of happening across the industry, and it feels like everybody in the industry is here. And if you're looking for inspiration and looking for ideas, right, and rising maybe above the day-to-day of the work, thinking future possibilities, what's possible for the brands, I feel like this is the place to be, and I'm really excited to be back again.
We're happy to be here with you, and I feel like even just amongst ourselves, we've been having a lot of those high-level conversations. You get out of the office, you get inspired, you get the scenery that we have here and all this inspiration, and it allows us to have different conversations, so we're happy to be here with you. We also love to see our partners do amazing things out in the world. What standout moment do you want the world to know about your brand right now, and what makes you excited about it?
There's a lot of really great things happening at Zillow. We've always been known for dreaming and again about what's possible. And now with our brand, we're able to help consumers move beyond the dream. So we're doing so much to transform our business and transform the real estate industry. If I think about the for sale or the buy side of our business, we have the opportunity now to help customers understand their buyability and what they can afford in a home. We have the opportunity to connect them with one of our top agents to take a tour, and schedule a tour online. We can help them get pre-qualified for a home loan. We can actually help them get a home loan and then get home. So there's so much just transformation happening in the business, and we're really starting to integrate all of this into one platform, one super app, take the ease and the joy of, the dreaming part of the process and bring that all the way through to actually helping customers get home. But the other piece too that I'll add really quickly is we also have a very sizable rentals part of our business. So yes, you may think about Zillow for finding the home, maybe even buying the home, but it's also about a home could be a beautiful rental apartment that's perfectly suited for you and your ability to find that also on Zillow.
Yeah, you really are talking to customers at every part of the journey and whatever that journey looks like, which is really exciting as your partner, and the ways that we can tell stories about all the great things that you're doing to help get people home. Yeah. So we're here at Sport Beach. We're experiencing the intersection of sport, creativity, and culture. How has your brand leveraged sports to drive growth and engagement, and how has that evolved over the past year?
Oh, it's a really good question. I think for us, we have a very passionate, and sizable community of customers, and sport also has a very passionate, kind of community. And I think what we're also seeing is many of our first-time home buyers over-index, in terms of, their viewership of sport, and particularly women's sports. So as we're looking kind of to the future, we're thinking about how can we connect maybe more authentically for our customers? How can we actually kind of storytell, right, through sports, through some athletes who have either gone through the process of getting home or who want to go through the process of getting home, and help our customers understand the steps and that it's possible. I think one of the things we're seeing, right, with the rise of sort of like female sports, and even like the WNBA, which again, our first-time home buyers over-index against, there's women now kind of coming into their game, right? Coming into the means by which to buy a home, and who want to establish roots and community somewhere and generational wealth for their families, but they need a trusted partner, right, to go through that home buying process with. And I think that's where Zillow again can become that trusted partner for these folks. and authentically help get them home and authentically storytell around that. We just did a content series actually, with 72 and Sunny, as you know, with Aaliyah Boston, and of the Indiana Fever, right? And helping Aaliyah buy her first home and going on that journey with her. So, so many of these athletes are just role models, right? And I think we can have our customers sort of see that in them and people that they really connect with, and can authentically see them getting home too.
I think it's that authenticity too. You as a partner have been so passionate and dogmatic about being authentic about the storytelling, and I think the Leah Boston work is such a great example of that. Is like her true personality, her true experience, and it just it's so moving. It's just so fun to work on.
It is too, because it's like, again, like, everybody's different. Yeah. Personalities are different. Their experiences are different, right? The home buying is different for them and what that looks like. So really being able to be a part of that journey with them, and tell those stories is really exciting.
Yeah. So speaking of sports, fandom is something that we're talking about a lot, a bit of a buzzword. Yeah. How do you define fandom at Zillow, and how has it impacted your business?
Yeah, fandom's an interesting one. Again, I think when I think about fandom, I think about community, I think about passion, I think about engagement, and again, I think at Zillow, we are privileged in that we have, more than 200 million, people coming to our platform, every month. And there is a lot of passion and engagement there, and I think what's been nice about Zillow is it allows people to dream freely. It isn't judgmental in any way. Right. You can come in and out of it as you want to and play. And I think, again, for, our business, the ability to maybe extend that play, extend that joy, extend that dream into getting more and more people home in the buying process or the renting process is really exciting for us, So I know, I was like, I want to keep cultivating that fandom and create that joy all the way through.
Right, harnessing that.
Yeah.
So a bit of a heady one. What is the next frontier for your brand, and
Yeah.
how are you preparing for it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the next frontier for our brand, I think, is everything we've kind of been talking about, right? Which is helping more and more people get home and making it more seamless and more joyful. I think about, again, all the products and the tools and services that we're building into the Housing Super app, and the ability for, your loan officer and your agent and yourself, all of your everything's together in one place in a way that it takes the burden, off of the buyer or the renter, and it puts the burden on Zillow, right, to handle all of that for you. So I think that there's so much exciting work in the product development sort of part of the business, and I think in the experience too that we're trying to create, for home buyers and renters alike. The other piece, though, that's critically important to this are agents, so we're also doing a lot to invest in agents, build trust in agents, provide tools and services, right, that agents can use to help grow their business and in turn pay that back to consumers to help get them home. So I could go on and on because there's so much, but then that's our job to figure out, like, how do we storytell around this, and how do we create that relevancy?
Yes. There's a lot to pull from. It's such an exciting time for Zillow. Embarrassment of riches on
I guess so,
the creative part of things. So that will be our challenge to overcome. But speaking of work, being here at Cannes, seeing all the inspiration, hearing all these great panels, the work in the Palais, what excites you about the industry right now?
Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. Honestly, the sky is the limit. I think that what's exciting about the industry is it's so dynamic. It's so dynamic, right? So I think, again, everything from technology and AI innovation and how we can use that kind of in a way to bolster creativity and bolster storytelling to brand and partnerships, right? And finding those authentic connections. There's so much here. It's almost, again, an embarrassment of riches and so many things to go after. The question is, how do you prioritize all of it?
Yeah. Stay tuned. Okay, so thinking about our partnership, we've obviously been partners for quite a while here at Zillow. You were a partner of 72s in a past life. What advice do you have for other marketers on what to look for in an agency and how to play to win with their agency partners?
Ooh, good question. Obviously creativity is key, right? Wanting agency partners, right, who will bring, the responsible ideas and bring the crazy ideas. And there's something in there, right, that you'll build together. So I think, creativity obviously is key. I think I'll call it collaboration, and that probably has maybe two pieces to it. Collaboration in the sense of agency partners who really understand our business and what we're trying to accomplish, right? And as a brand kind of working with an agency, how can you help the agency also achieve their objectives, right? And where they want to go. But then I think collaboration in the sense of really how you work together. I think the best work seems to come, not from an overburdened process, but by truly kind of being in there together, right? Sort of making the right decisions at the right time and collaborating with each other along the journey to make the work better,
Right. Well, you've kind of touched on this a little bit, Jen, but we were going to talk a little bit about collaboration with agency partners, not just to drive the brand, but also drive business results. I wonder if you can hit on the second part of that when it comes to the collaboration and the work that we do together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it is about collaborating thoughtfully. And, what I mean by that is about being very clear on what it is you're trying to do together and being very clear on how you are measuring that, right? To then learn and build and grow together, So I think that's what I get very excited about, right? Is we want to experiment, we want to try things, we want to be clear on what we're trying to do, and then how we kind of continue to optimize and learn from the things we're doing, so we just continue to get better together is a great one.
I love that. Well, thank you, Jen, for being here. Thank you for being an incredible partner to
Thank
72
you.
and Sunny. And thanks for joining us at Sport Beach. That's all for now. Be sure to catch up on all of the action from Can on 72 and Sunny's social channels.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.